And hello everybody, welcome back to British Stands. We've got a bit of a big update live stream for you in today's stream. Of course, as you can read there in the title, Vance has set the record straight as Britain's in meltdown over his words that he said a little bit earlier on. Again, came out and clarified his comments. We're going to be going through exactly what he said. We're also going to be going over about the EU Commission President saying that Europe will step in as Trump pulls aid from the Ukraine. We'll have a little look at their sort of speech as well as the whole thing carries on and still spills over. But as always, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and get involved in the live chat. So yeah, we can bring up your thoughts and opinions a little bit later on. But this morning, we did a live stream where we spoke about JD Vance's comments with regard to Ukraine. There was a bit at the end with regard to saying that the nations that were discussing that they wanted to send boots on the ground to Ukraine didn't have any war experience and all of these kind of things. And in Britain, our mainstream media have completely ran away with it, and all of everybody, lefties, are in absolute meltdown with regard to his comments. I mean, all you have to do is go onto X and simply type in JD Vance and you'll see tons and tons of comments talking about how he's a disgrace and what he said and all of these kind of things. And as stated here, people aren't really that happy. But let's have a little look at what he said this morning, and then we're going to look at JD Vance's response to his comments.
And here's the thing, you know, when you would talk to the Biden administration officials in private, it's another example of a terrible situation the Biden admin left the Trump administration. When you ask them what's the plan, okay, we're going to spend tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars in Ukraine. What is your plan? And they would honestly tell you, well, we're just going to send them weapons for as long as we can and hope eventually they can turn the tide. Hope is not a strategy. Throwing money and ammunition at a terrible conflict, that is not a strategy. The only guy in town with a strategy is the President of the United States, and everybody needs to follow his lead.
What scares me is Zelensky, when he says it's going to go on for years. How many more lives are going to be lost? He's not going to have a country to save at the end of that. The minerals deal would have provided the monies to rebuild their country and a strong U.S. presence and maybe European troops as well.
And this is an important part of it. The president knows that, look, if you want real security guarantees, if you want to actually ensure that Vladimir Putin does not invade Ukraine again, the very best security guarantee is to give Americans economic upside in the future of Ukraine. That is a way better security guarantee than 20,000 troops from some random country that hasn't fought a war in 30 or 40 years. The security guarantee and also the economic guarantee for Ukraine is to rebuild the country and ensure that America has a long-term interest. You're not going to do that if you come to the Oval Office, insult the president, and refuse to follow his plan for peace.
Sorry for the viewers that have already seen that clip. You've probably seen it a couple of times a day, but I did want to provide context to it. And as I said, everyone's in meltdown. A lot of our mainstream media are in absolute meltdown because of those comments, because they thought he was talking about the UK. And whilst he never actually mentioned the UK, he has responded to this. And he basically said that it's absurdly untruthful. Let's go through what JD Vance has said with regard to that interview. Essentially, he was, quote, tweeting, bad news for Starmer and Macron. Vance confirms the only US security guarantee in Ukraine will be a mineral deal. He also plays down British and French peacekeeping troops as 20k troops from random countries that hasn't fought a war in 30 to 40 years. JD Vance simply said, this is absurdly dishonest. I don't even mention the UK or France in this clip, both of whom have fought bravely alongside the US over the last 20 years and beyond. He then followed up by saying, but let's be direct. There are many countries who are volunteering, privately or publicly, support who have neither the battlefield experience nor the military equipment to do anything meaningful. Now, these comments have came out an hour ago, 2 hours ago, and still our mainstream media machine are still pushing this out. And now he's already clarified what he meant. People are still in meltdown over the comments. And I did speak about it earlier. I said, look, listen, I don't think he actually meant the United Kingdom or France for that matter, because he never mentioned our names. But I did say, I gave my point of view in saying, well, if he did mean us, then I do feel that that could be disrespectful. But people have gone ham at JD Vance and said he's so disrespectful, should be welcome in the country, all of these kind of things. He doesn't know his history. You know, veterans have come out as well that have been speaking about it and saying, look, the sacrifice, I lost my brothers and all of these kind of things over this whole spill of not really understanding what JD Vance has said. Now, that stuff should be put to bed now. JD Vance has literally came out and set the record straight. He's came out and said exactly what he meant and clarified that he does like the UK and France. And he wasn't talking about them. He was talking about all of the other small nations. You know, we've got loads of different nations within the EU who've never fought a war whatsoever, have no battlefield experience. He's absolutely correct, coming to the forefront and talking about the impact that they're going to do, which is very, very untrue. So we have just, of course, addressed those comments. So I want to see our mainstream media in the UK just shut up now. He's addressed them. Leave it alone. I just think whenever Trump or JD Vance says something wrong, the narrative is just to keep on digging, keep on pushing, and just keep on pushing on the thing. It needs to stop now. He's clarified he didn't mean the United Kingdom nor France for that matter. So he set the record straight. Leave it. Let's bury it. He obviously didn't mean that. I think I read that he served in Iraq. He knows, I know a lot of American brothers that love the UK forces and they know that the impact that they had within their country. So, yeah, I wouldn't think for that matter earlier on today, I didn't think that he would have meant that having served in Iraq or whatever. So, yeah, let's put that to bed. The record has been put straight. Now, in terms of other news with regard to this situation, the EU Commission President has stated that Europe will step up as Trump pulls aid from Ukraine. And by the way, I just want to remind everybody watching, not a single EU citizen cast a vote for her, and not a single EU citizen will get a vote on this decision that she announced earlier on today. As stated, the EU is anti-democratic, corrupted, and is quite frankly a disaster. Have a watch of this.
So this is Europe's moment, and we must live up to it. The third point is using the power of the EU budget. And there's a lot we can do in this domain in the short term to direct more funds towards defense-related investments. And this is why I can announce that we will propose additional possibilities and incentives for member states, that they will decide if they want to use cohesion policy programs to increase defense spending. Now, the last two areas of action aim at mobilizing private capital by accelerating the Savings and Investment Union and, of course, through the European Investment Bank. So to conclude, Europe is ready to assume its responsibilities. Rearm Europe could mobilize close to 800 billion euros of defense expenditures for a safe and resilient Europe. We will, of course, continue working closely with our partners in NATO. This is a moment for Europe, and we are ready to step up. Thank you very much.
Madam President. Thank you. No questions today.
And just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, with regard to her, no one voted for her. No one voted for her, and no EU citizen will have a say on what's being done on this. So no EU citizen is going to vote on this whatsoever, and I don't think we're going to be voting on what we're going to be doing within the United Kingdom with regard to what we're pledging and looking to do going forward. So everything just keeps on happening. There's loads of different updates, but I just felt that I wanted to make this live stream, especially for sort of JD Vance, because I'm starting to see a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people. If you have X, just simply put in JD Vance and look at the abuse he's getting from Everybody, all the sort of left-wing media sites are doing it. You know, veterans even coming out as well, telling him to F off, all of these things, taking it that they rubbed him in the wrong way. So I think it's important to get the right information out there and make sure that we're sharing exactly that he has come out. For those of you just tuning in, again, I think it's important because our mainstream media are literally blasting it over every single thing. JD Vance has said that interview, it's absurdly dishonest. I don't even mention the UK or France in this clip, both of whom have fought bravely alongside the US over the last 20 years and beyond. But let's be direct, there are many countries who are volunteering privately or publicly support who have neither the battlefield experience nor the military equipment to do anything meaningful. This is important, guys, to get that information out there. He has clarified he did not mean British and French troops and their armies and what they've done over the last few years. Okay, so there we go. Let's put that to bed as the record has been set. All right, let's take some reaction from you guys in the live chat, guys. What are you thinking with regard to everything? Sorry if you can hear a helicopter go over my apartment building. Just going through. I don't know if the mic picked that up, but it was rather loud. Dude, what? Oh my god. Some of the comments in here, by the way. JD speaks the truth. Well, he does speak the truth because there are a lot of nations just congregating around and saying that they're going to do this, they're going to do that, when they have no battlefield experience whatsoever. So they're absolutely correct. And again, I don't want to keep on coming on these live streams and saying the exact same thing as I said before, but I do think the best situation and the best thing that we can currently do for Ukraine is go with Trump's plan. He's the only man with a plan at this moment in time, and that's probably our best sort of bet with regard to peace. None of this stuff that Starmer's coming up with, because he said in the comments yesterday that it's all relying on the US playing a vital role in it. They said they're not doing it. The mineral deal is the only thing that they're going to be giving to ensure the defense of the United States, and that's a massive big no-no if they don't take upon that, if they reject that. I've been seeing different comments saying that they could come back, they want to sign the deal, Ukraine. But if you look at it this way, black and white, you know, you've got US personnel within Ukraine, and if a Russian soldier or a Russian troop fires any shot towards an American, there's massive amounts of trouble in that way. So I do think that's the best sort of situation that they could have in terms of having a secure deal for peace going forward, and that mineral deal. And I don't know, I've seen conflicting reports stating that Zelensky does now want to sort of sign that. So we'll see what happens with regard to that a little bit later on. But yeah, certainly foolish if he wasn't going to sign that and put it on the paper. Let's have a little look. Trump's plan is not really for anyone else but for America. American people first. You know, we got to put the UK first with regard to ours. That's what we've got to be doing as well. But the Americans still are there is no deal without them. You need the Americans in place. And as well, Starmer's plans just is falling apart as we speak. You know, the Italian Prime Minister came out recently today and stated, yeah, you guys can send your soldiers on the ground, but we're not sending ours. We're not sending any Italian soldiers onto the ground in Ukraine, and rightfully so. Everyone's got her support on what she came out and said. We could learn a thing or two within the United Kingdom, for sure, 100%. Ultra Mega says, we want peace for everyone, but also want to gain back as much of the 360 billion we sent them as possible, which is fair. It is fair. It is absolutely fair. But again, I echo what JD Vance and what Trump has said. They're the only people in town with a plan, a proper plan, an actual plan that works for, you know, you can talk about, well, does it work for Ukraine? Does it work for Russia? Blah, 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 blah. That's kind of the narrative of a deal, you know? They're fighting, there's two sides fighting a war. You know, when you come and make a deal, that's a deal to kind of not meet in the middle necessarily, but there has to be sacrifices on both sides to come up with a deal. You know, you're not going to get absolutely everything you want as a part of a deal, otherwise the war would just carry on, which it kind of looks like that's going to be the case, unfortunately. But as stated, Trump wants everlasting peace as well, but he does put American people first, which is also very important. As I said, Keir Starmer could learn a thing or two. Now, I'll keep on saying it because many people need to know about this, is the latest figures about who crossed the channel last week. The numbers are absolutely frightening. Have a look at GB News' exclusive with regard to that. They published the accounts for last week, and it's frightening. We're already being invaded. We're not safe and secure. So yeah, no way. David Humphreys says, what war has France fought? Again, I would assume they had some involvement in Afghanistan and Iraq, whilst probably not as significant as the sort of British, American, Canadian forces, German forces for that matter. They would have probably had a lot of troops out there in France, so I suppose that they have played a part in terms of the conflicts under in the last recent years. Again, I can't confirm or deny that, but I would assume that they have, over the last 20 years, certainly fought with UK and American forces. Beth says, has your immigration crossing recent, or has it been happening for a while? It's been happening for a long time, to be fair. It has been happening quite a lot. And actually, I seen Lee Anderson, one of the Reform politicians, come out and say something. 2 seconds. What did he say earlier on today? He got a calculator. He said, in the past 7 days, this is what Lee Anderson said literally half an hour ago. In the past 7 days, 1,000 illegal immigrants have broken into our country. Each illegal costs you £41,000 per year. If you do the maths, for 1 year, that's £41 million. So apparently, as I said, Lee Anderson here, in the past 7 days, 1,000 illegal immigrants have broken into the country. £41,000 a year to host all of them. 41 million quid from just a week's worth of invaders coming into the country. A week's worth. That's bonkers. 41 million pounds, that will save you a lot of money, by the way, sorting that out. 41 million quid. It's absolutely diabolical. It really is. Stop the invasion on our shore. Yeah, well, that's what the armed forces are there for. And I said it about a little bit earlier on today, is that the armed forces are there to provide defense to our country. How can we go and fight foreign lands and go to Ukraine and do all these kind of things when our borders aren't even secure? That's why, you've got to try and start at home, security at home first. 1,000 in the last 7 days, that's absolutely eye-watering amounts of money that's going to be costing, but that's sheer volume of individuals coming across that we have absolutely no idea who the heck they are, committing a criminal offence coming over the channel. Like, when was this made? Like, when was this a thing? When was this a thing where you commit a crime and you just housed into our country and we have to pay for it? It's not how it works, unfortunately. If you want to claim asylum, then there's a legal route to go down by doing that. You don't just ping up on a dinghy and that's it, you're into the country. It's absolute, it's suicidal for a country. It really is. These people just don't know how dangerous this is. And it's not to say that every single individual that's crossed over in the dinghy is a threat. I'm not saying that at all. You don't know individuals, and again, every person is subjective and all of these kind of things. But even just one of those 1,000 people commit a crime, that's, one person goes around stabbing people or whatever, that's lives lost, British lives lost for negligence of not securing the border. So it only takes one individual to be wrong in the head, 2 or 3 of them to be wrong in the head, to make a massive lasting impact within this country because they're unchecked and nobody actually knows who the heck they are. That's the big problem I see of it all the time. Poppy Red says, can't wait to leave the UK. The globe has many beautiful places to live. Absolutely. Again, that's something people should try and strive to do so. As I said, obviously, legally, go through about it in a legal procedure. Of course, don't rock up on a dinghy or anything like that. But yeah, go through a legal procedure, and yeah, the world is your oyster. Have a look at these beautiful places in the world to go and see. TC says that these need to stop leaving France. Aren't we paying prevention to France? Still have to bucket faster. I think I seen something today with the GB News. Apparently they were reporting on the individuals that are there, kind of their job to try and stop these boats. Apparently they just sit around all day and just allow these dinghies to go out. So they're not doing anything whatsoever. That's the problem. They do absolutely nothing on a day-to-day basis. They're whatever they're paid to do, or stop these individuals coming across on the boat. So all you have to do is get a knife or a sharp instrument and just let the air out the dinghy. It's not that hard to stop it. And then going after these criminal gangs is absolutely nonsense. Thank you so much for the donation, Wilma. Thank you so much. Very, very generous of you. Thank you. Dean says, I think Starmer and Macron have a deal that we take so many. Can't be having that, man. Can't be having that. The way I've always looked at it is because, the maths is there, right? Lee Anderson just pointed it out in his tweet moments ago. £41,000 a year illegal costs us. Right, say if you're coming from a war-torn country, right? Granted, you might, I try and put myself in this position, right? As an individual trying to flee a war-torn country. You do everything that you can for your family. I do look at that thing. But then they trek all the way through Europe, which is relatively safe. Everywhere's safe. Why not pitch up in Italy or Poland? Why don't they pitch up in Poland, for example? Because they know that they're not going to be getting the benefits. They know that they won't be able to be living a life there. That's the reason why they travel all the way through Europe to then get to the dinghy, because we're the freaking golden pot at the end of the rainbow, essentially. We're the bit where they know that they're going to be completely looked after. That can't be the case. There's a lot of safe places across Europe that they could have been staying. They don't have to come to the United Kingdom, but the situation that we're the golden pot at the end of the rainbow suggests that we need to try and make it a lot more stricter for them actually staying. We've got another $5 donation. Says that can they battle cry king country still, or is that offensive now? I don't know. Yeah, probably would rustle a few feathers now. There's a lot of people. They probably would get offended by it. Probably, to be fair. Tidoro. Thank you for your donation, my man. Thank you. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Just for those of you just tuning in here now, to be fair, we kind of went a bit off topic with regard to illegal immigration and all these kind of things, but it does coincide with the bigger picture on what's going on. But for those of you just catching it here right at the end, JD Vance has come out and, of course, set the record straight on what he meant with regard to the comments he made this morning. Apparently that the armies haven't fought in 30 to 40 years. In the UK, they've gone absolute mayhem. They've said that how disrespectful JD Vance is, but of course he set the record straight and said that this is dishonest. I don't even mention the UK or France in this clip. Both of them have fought bravely alongside the US over the last 20 years and beyond. So there you go. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this live stream. Do stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date with the whole situation that does unfold. Let's carry on the comments. Let's carry on the conversation in the comment section below. Thank you all for the donations as well. Very, very